It will be available in a couple of days on the district Facebook page. I'll get that link and send you that link so you can find it rather than get on Facebook and go down the rabbit hole and 2 days later you come back up for air because you've been catching up with everybody who's posted on Facebook. How many of you are going to be the vocational service chair in your club next year? Raise your hand. Okay. How many of you don't have a vocational service chair? So you're here to get the info. Okay. And how many presidents-elect are there? Yeah. Good job. You folks are going to tune into all of them, right? All the sessions. You're very conscientious presidents-elect. All right. I have a brief PowerPoint. Can you all see my PowerPoint? You're muted, so and I can't see you right now.
No, we cannot.
No, I don't.
No, I haven't.
Can't see
Can't
it.
see your PowerPoint.
Okay. Let me try this.
Hear weird stuff, but don't see anything.
Sounds like a big truck.
I bet you still can't see it, can you? Well, I don't know what happened because I had it up before the meeting. So we'll plow right on. Vocational service is probably one of the most underserved, less well-known of all the service areas. And I'm not sure why that is, except probably for one reason, I think maybe the term vocation is one that's not used very much anymore. It's kind of an old term and it has some religious connotations. What's your vocation in reference to becoming a priest or a nun? So that may be part of the reason. But vocational service is an area where you can make a lot of progress. You can partner with other service areas of service in your club, like community service, and make a big difference in your club and in your community. Your vocation, as it's defined in the Webster's Dictionary, is it's something you do. It's your love. You love what you're doing. You're great at it. You're passionate about it. The world needs what you're doing and you love it. And you also get paid for it. The whole concept of vocational service is actually in Rotary years pretty old. Its purpose is to encourage high ethical standards in business and in professions, make sure that all professions are considered to be worthy, not looking down upon one profession or another. And it's also an opportunity to serve society. It's linked to the Rotary Code of Conduct. I don't know how many people have seen the Code of Conduct, not the object of Rotary, but the Code of Conduct itself. And basically it says, as a Rotarian, you'll act with integrity and high ethical standards in your personal and professional life. You'll deal fairly with others and treat them and their occupations with respect, and use your professional skills through Rotary to mentor young people and help those with special needs and improve the quality of people's lives in your community and in the world. And you'll avoid behavior that reflects adversely on Rotary or other Rotarians. The object of Rotary is generally what's mentioned when talking about vocational service. And it's quite similar to the standard of conduct. The one that's not included in the code of conduct is that you'll use the development of friendships and acquaintances as an opportunity for service. And I think that's why I think this vocational service is so closely linked with all the other areas of service that are there, whether it's international service, whether it's community service, club service. And all of these fit, of course, into the four-way test. Is it true, fair, build good relationships, and beneficial to everybody? I found it pretty interesting. So I'm going to tell you a story about the development, because we associate the four-way test most closely with vocational service. You usually have some kind of presentation in your club once a year on ethical standards based on the four-way test. So I wanted to dig a little bit deeper and see where this all came from. So come along with me on this little journey. It's 1932. It's in the midst of the Great Depression. A lot of good-sized banks have failed, and they took everyone's life savings with them. That led to a shortage of money supply and deflation, that's falling prices. People lost their jobs. The unemployment rate was about 25%. And that's even higher than it sounds, because most women did not work outside the home in 1932. So, 25% of the whole population was unemployed. And it went hand in glove with an agricultural recession, because farmers couldn't sell their crops, couldn't sell their other products. There were bread lines everywhere, soup kitchens, because people were absolutely starving. They had no way to make money, and they had no way to feed their families. There was one company in 1932 that was on the verge of bankruptcy, and it was the Club Aluminum Cookware Company. And they were $400,000 in debt to the bank and other creditors, and they weren't worth $400,000. So the bank that had the biggest portion of that loan said, maybe we can save this company. We don't want to lose it. We have nothing to gain from them going bankrupt. And they asked one of their employees, he was vice president or one of the CEOs, and his name was Herb Taylor. Now, Herb came from a background of hard work. He grew up on a farm, helped his parents and siblings raise crops. They sold them. They treated people fairly. The prices were fair. And Herb succeeded in the banking business because he had that high set of ethics and standards. So the bank sent Herb to the Club Aluminum Cookware Company and said, your job is to save this company. No pressure on Herb, none at all. So Herb took a look at what was happening in the company, and he took a look around at their competitors. What were they doing? Was there something that Club Aluminum could do better? Was there a different way to operate? And he did some thinking about it, and he decided that the way to differentiate Club Aluminum Cookware was to, first of all, treat their customers with respect and fairness. When you take a look at any kind of advertising from 1932, it was full of misrepresentations, some outright lies, They weren't truthful about the products. There was no service after the sale. You were just sort of on your own if you bought the product and it didn't work out. Herb thought that was wrong and that he didn't want Club Aluminum to operate that way. So he wrote out some standards for the company and put them in place and had all the employees stand by those standards and operate that way. And eventually that boiled down to be the four-way test. Of course, Herb was a Rotarian. He was in the Chicago One Club. And after a few years, Rotary adopted it as the four-way test. And we all know it. We probably all recite it at our weekly meetings. We have Herb to thank for that back in 1932. There's another company I want to call to your attention. It's a much more modern company. It's Walgreens. And the second CEO of Walgreens was Charles Walgreen Jr. Walgreens today is the #1 drugstore company in the United States. A close second is CVS. So Charles was a Rotarian as well, and he wanted Walgreens to operate under the four-way test. And he encouraged that, and that's what company employees did back in 1955. He even posted the four-way test in the stores. I talked to somebody the other day who was in a Walgreens and they'd seen the four-way test posted by the pharmacy. And if you want to see the difference between Walgreens, #1, and CVS, #2 in the country, go on their websites. I did. Walgreens talks about value for clients, respect for customers, doing the right thing, being honest in what they're doing. And then the CVS website talks about how they want to grow their business, what they're doing to make that happen, how they've expanded, how they've bought out other companies. There's a very stark difference between those two websites. You ought to check it out. You'll see. Made me want to be a Walgreens customer, huh? And that was started back in 1955. By the way, if you have a question, because I can't see you, I'm looking at the PowerPoint, please speak up. Or if you have a comment, please speak up. Right. So what can you do with the business you're in or the business that you have retired from or in the businesses that you patronize? What can you do to help them honor the four-way test and improve their profession? We have unique skills to be able to do that. And we certainly know our communities. We do all kinds of community service projects. We know what the communities need. And the other thing is developing new professional opportunities and interests for those people who are not retired. It's good to expand your business in whatever way makes sense for you. So January is Vocational Service Month. And that's the month to roll out some action steps for your members and encourage them, and not just in January, of course, but encourage them to try some things. And I'm going to go through a whole list of things that you can do. I'm going to send you all the PowerPoint after our session so that you can see what I'm talking about and you don't have to take frantic notes. It's some things are directed towards students in high school or middle school. And it's kind of difficult to get things going in schools this year because they have certainly not recovered from the pandemic. They're struggling every day to get kids back online, hopefully up to some kind of grade level in their math and reading skills and the other subjects they study. So we've had limited success last year and this year in actually getting into the schools. They're a little overwhelmed, but keep this one in mind for in the future, or if you want to try it for next year. Offer career counseling to students at local schools. Maybe it's a career day where people from Rotarians from a couple of different professions have the opportunity to talk to students about what it's like to be an attorney, what it's like to be a health aid worker, what it's like to be a teacher. They'll have lots of questions, and many students in our county do not have the opportunity to speak with any professional person, let alone know anything about what they might want to do with their lives in the future. And this could be a good entree for them. Particularly, you can partner with a Rotary Club on a mentoring program. Rotarectors are so hungry for service projects. And I've found that Rotarectors are social whizzes. They send out a message, however they do it, tweet or Facebook or whatever they do. I don't even know the latest one. I'm certain there are 4 or 5 more I don't know. But they can spread the word faster than lightning. And they can gather people and have a Rotarian speak to them actually at a Rotaract meeting and offer up mentorship. I think that would be a lot of fun to do. Once a month, have 1 or 2 people present a trade talk. And I stole this idea directly from Palm Springs Sun-Up Club. They do this every month. They have a member speak for 3 to 5 minutes about what it is their profession is or what profession they retired from. And it helps you get to know your other club members. And if you want the service that Rotarian offers, you may not know that that's what they do. When I want to have a veterinarian for my 2 dogs who own me, the first place I would look is in my club. Is there anybody in here who is a veterinarian? But I might not know it. I wouldn't have to go around and ask every member in the club, you know, are you a vet? Are you a vet? Are you a vet? So it's good to have our members talk about something that's very familiar to them. What got them into the profession? Why did they stay? If they changed, why did they change and what did they go to? And the reason I say 3 to 5 minutes is this is not a biographical history of the person. It shouldn't start out with, well, I was born in Newport News, Virginia, and we moved when I was a year old. No. That's going to be way too long and it gets lost. So if possible, tell them 3 to 5 minutes so they'll get to the point and get good information about them. Pause for a minute because somebody wanted to come on. There we go. You could also, if you have an opportunity to get in the schools, offer students information on how to write a resume and a cover letter. I know there are lots of examples floating around the internet and they could easily snatch one of those, but that doesn't do justice to what the individual might bring to the job. And also how to conduct an interview. That one you can't learn on the internet. Oh, you can watch videos. I've seen them. I've looked them up myself, but it takes practice and it takes guidance to do a good interview. I think I mentioned this one, have career day and have high school students partner with Rotarians. Come and spend a little bit of time with them on the job and see what it's all about. I'd like to see clubs publish either online or on paper, a directory of club members' professions. I think it would be very valuable information without having to look them up on DACDB, which is a mystery to many people, how to negotiate that with good reason. They shouldn't have to look you up on the district website to find out what you do. And of course, many of you clubs do this. I think almost all clubs do in some fashion, sponsor a 4-way test speech contest. Now, I know for a fact that Rancho Mirage does something a little bit different with that. Sue Delacqua, I'm going to call on you and ask you to talk about what Rancho Mirage does, because you don't have much in the way of good organized contact at the high school. They've been a little difficult to deal with. So what's Rancho Mirage do?
We do at the elementary school, we have them write an essay and then also there in the past, we've also done one where they do a contest explaining what the 4-way test is and they draw it. So there's 2 different ways to do it. But the theme is they have to read the 4-way test and then write something about it.
That's a pretty big job for an elementary student, and it's amazing some of the entries that came in. The kids are very sophisticated. Anybody else do anything like that or do the four-way test speech contest? Raise your hand. Don't be shy. Hey, Mansoor, good to see you.
So up in the mountains, the Lake Arrowhead Crestline area, we do multiple speech contests as well as a music contest. We participate in the high schools in a mock interview program. Pre-COVID, we actually helped sponsor a kind of a vocational career day, featured a lot of more hands-on professions like auto repair and plumbing, etc., as well as more blue collar, white collar. But we happen to be in a school district that it still has a very intact vocational education program. So, and that's the REM High School. There's REM of the World Unified School District up in the Lake Arrowhead Crestline Running Springs area.
Sounds like you all are all over vocational service.
We are.
Terry Knight is on here, and she does a wonderful program for the 8th graders in Yucaipa and Calamasa School District. You want to tell them about your program, Terry?
I'd be happy to. We invite 8th grade students to come in, and we partner with the high school into information that's given to those 8th grade students for their career pathway. And it's worked out quite well. Unfortunately, due to COVID, we've not been able to do it for the last 2-3 years, or 2 years. We're hoping to get it started again, but it was very well welcomed by both the high school as well as the intermediate school, because it gives them a chance as the counselors at the school to work with the high school in answering those questions. And we always invited various professionals as well as the working core that's found in this area. So it was a great opportunity to work with students, and we hope and pray we can get back to it.
Right, that's
How
great.
did you get any feedback from the students about how they felt about this activity?
Our students were very upset that we were out for 2 years and still continue to wonder when their turn is going to come.
Yeah.
So it's something that they are looking forward to it, as well as the high school in working with us in how they prepare the students for their pathway choice.
I like that concept because we do four-way tests. We just had it beginning of the month, last month, and we had not done it again. COVID was did not allow us to get into the schools. We only had 3 students. We barely got 3 students out of the high school. 2 of them were 18 years old already, and the other one was 17. So it was a very difficult task for them because they didn't have the support that normally was given to them by the leadership in their school. But we did manage to get 3 very professional students that worked really hard and succeeded quite well. They weren't able to go to camp because one was almost 19. And so it was very difficult this year. But I'm really interested in listening to more about the 8th grade participation, because I think that that's the foundation for them to start with, because that's Pride, and that's doing in the Pride years. And I think that we should start incorporating those 2 together so that they can grow into it. So I'm very interested in hearing more about that. So I'd like to put my contact information in and have a more conversation about that. because that's a real reality out there right now, because we're not getting the participation even for our campers. We have a hard time finding campers now. So on Friday, I will go and meet the bus at Marchfield. And it's just COVID, but the kids are so excited that they have started back their clubs, and we want to do something different to make them know that they have value, and we want to hear from them. So this is very important.
That's a good way to put it, Patty, because COVID was so devastating and is still so devastating to their self-esteem and their sense of who they are, because they lost all their social contacts. They lost school, they lost teachers, they lost and all of that. So giving them that kind of attention and valuable information helps rebuild what was lost during COVID. That's an excellent point, Patty.
Yeah, so that's one of the things that I've noticed since being president-elect, that the children has really suffered in the schools. There's a lot of things that they're not sharing, but they're getting more comfortable with this new way of education. But it's still challenging for them because a lot of them lost their identity.
Yeah.
A lot of them have lost their identity. So we've got to get out there and build them back up so that they become model citizens and they can walk with their chest open. I just saw one of the, I think he's in the 5th graders earlier today from CMI, and he was not aware of some of the things that were going on in the city, because we're having our 5 color run on Saturday. And the kids at CMI, they're always excited. So there's excitement that's coming back to parents. Our mayor is working very hard with his staff, and they are really opening up activities for the summer. I was so impressed when I saw a magazine last night, and I spoke to the mayor this morning because they were the presenters and they presented all the things that are going on this summer. So we're opening back up, and we're exciting. I'm excited to see that by the time July 1 hits, we're moving right along. We've got so many things, and it's just
Patty, you bring up a good point, and that is so many things were put on hold, and now it's starting to come back. This is a fantastic opportunity for Rotary.
Absolutely, it is. It really is. And I've been real busy, a busy little person here. But it's just amazing what we can do working together. So I'm so happy when I come in, and since we had our training and we all the pre-pets before pre-pets, and we had our training what 3 or 4 months was it, Marilyn? Yeah, that was amazing because this was the first, and this kind of really lifted us all up. So we're ready to go. We're ready to go. The 61.
There's a lot of saved up COVID energy, right?
We're excited. We keep each other excited. We
all
connect.
right.
So
that's great, Patty.
It's a wonderful world in Rotary. It makes the world that much better being part of it.
There are so many opportunities, and let's jump in and do them. One of the things that you could think about doing is selecting a business of the year in your community and honoring them. You can blow out all the stops and have a big dinner, or invite them to your club and honor them there with a certificate or a plaque. Those things are very popular, as well as a business person of the year, if you wanted to select that kind of person, and let the businesses know in advance, of course, that that's what you're doing, and then get it written up in the local newspaper or their online version. Give you a lot of public relations for your club, as well as honoring those businesses and business people who exhibit the 4-way test. And another thing you could do is host an event for business networking and professional development in your community. This may overlap somewhat with what the chambers of commerce do. They have regular networking events, but you might be able to partner with them if you don't have one of your own, and be a sponsored for one or two of the networking sessions.
And that's good because I did that with the chamber. I have it scheduled for, yeah. We're
The
doing
Chamber
that.
of Commerce is an excellent opportunity also to recruit members into your club. I know some clubs that do that quite well. And business people are the heart of Rotary. It's the history of Rotary. So if you can get them to join into your club by networking with them at a chamber event, that's what it's all about.
Absolutely.
Rotary International has a lot of resources on rotary.org. There's a Rotary Service newsletter that's published. There's a Rotary discussion group that you can join in on. And there's a forum for clubs to post their projects and Rotary ideas. You can join in on that. You can share your vocational service project successes on Rotary Showcase. And when you share what you're doing, you not only give other people ideas, but you get inspiration because you get their ideas. I don't know if you go on the Rotary website very often, the Rotary International website. Could I see show of hands? Is mine going to be the only one? Mansour? All right, great. 4 or 5 of you do. It is sometimes difficult to navigate the Rotary website. They have made a lot of improvements over the last few years. So this will be redundant for some of you. If you have not gotten on Rotary International or rotary.org lately, when you do, you'll want to go to My Rotary and you have to sign in, get a password. You have to get your account set up before you can open the door to all the resources that are on the Rotary website. So I encourage you to do that. I thought about making this an 1.5-hour session and actually walking you through doing that, but I decided I didn't want to torture you. So we're not going to do that. I would be interested in knowing some of the other things that your clubs are doing in the way of vocational service. If you have some that you'd like to share, this is the opportunity to do that.
Marilyn,
Yes, Mansour.
I was going to suggest job shadowing and collaborating with other organizations to have job fairs. And that could be inviting high schoolers, inviting Rotaractors, inviting others who may be looking for jobs. And that way we can promote vocational service and also introduce them to Rotary concept of service.
That's excellent. Excellent
I
suggestion.
like that. I like that. Yeah.
I think Paul has his hand up as well. Paul, you're on.
Yeah, one of the things I forgot to mention for the mountains is that we are privileged to do the Choices program in the local high school, the Rotary Choices program. And you have a puzzled look on your face.
I do.
That is so that is a program that Rotary itself offers. And the basic message is it walks ninth graders through the scenarios. You drop out of high school, you complete high school, or you complete some post-secondary education, and what those choices portend for your future. Very well structured program, about an hour of training online, as well as just personal prep, but very, very strong program, strong messages, and it just encourages kids to think very clearly before they drop out of school. So,
Is that on rotary.org?
Dave, you have an idea where that would be? It's give me 1 second. I'll find out where my message is.
I'm not sure the source either, but it's been a great program. I'm the president-elect for our club for Lake Arrowhead Sunrise, and I'm the principal of the continuation school. So they've been in the continuation school for like 20-25 years doing this program, and it just basically guides them into what choices you're going to make, how it's going to affect you. They're doing it for the freshmen, I think, next week, Paul. I think on Tuesday for the high school.
Yeah, Tuesday and Wednesday next week. So it's
Program.
two
A long time.
class periods, 2 days in a row, and just walks kids through a bunch of really, thought-provoking scenarios, and it's good stuff. And then if I can, I can't tell exactly, but it's run out of, I do know that it's run out of, I believe it's the Seattle area, and it's a Rotarian who's done this since 1984. It's very good program. Well structured, good training for the Rotarians. Good stuff.
I'm going to check into that too. It sounds so practical and so so impactful on the students who go through that. Excellent. Other things people want to share?
Marilyn, I would make one more comment that some of our area people here are doing what they call tutoring. In order for students to stay in school, tutoring program sponsored by or promoted by Rotarians would be of great help. Because if they drop out of school, their life is pretty much done. The San Bernardino City Unified School District has partnered with the local businesses, and they have a very full-blown career program. If students are not going to go further after high school, they actually already have a profession before they graduate. So they will not be falling through the cracks. And so they will have either a career or they will go to college, and they have worked it out very beautifully. Also, the local Valley College right here, they have a program now. The governor governor passed a legislation that a student will get $10,000 if they would donate 457 hours for community service. So in the Rotaract program, we have now built a relationship with the chancellor of the Valley College and Crafton Hills College. And there are 5 institutions in this district that have received this kind of funding. They are selected for this pilot project. And so Rotarians have a great opportunity here to be able to partner with these institutions